Showdown, Obama gives Putin an icy stare during luncheon toast after dueling UN speeches over Syria, ISIS and Ukraine. Putin shamed of the United States for attempting to export its version of democracy to Iraq in 2003 and Libya in 2011. Obama slapped Putin for supporting Syrian tyrant Bashar al-Assad, who he said drops barrel bombs to massacre innocent children. They are scheduled to meet in private later today, but they came face to face today at luncheon for world leaders. The two heads of state have not had a formal, in-person conversation since Russian separatists invaded eastern Ukraine last year. Top Republican on the Armed Services Committee, John McCain, says Obama is playing right into Putin's hands in taking the meeting. US President Barack Obama and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin fought for the soul of the United Nations this morning in dueling General Assembly speeches centered on the bloodshed in Iraq and Syria that renewed hostility between the two countries. At a luncheon for world leaders after their speeches, Putin celebrated, smiling as he touched his glass to Obama's during a toast by UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon. In return, he received an icy stare from Obama, who diplomatically clinked his glass in return. Their earlier trading of barbs encompassed the Kremlin's military involvement in Ukraine and its support of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, whom Obama referred to in his remarks as a tyrant who drops barrel bombs to massacre innocent children that must be removed from power. Putin likewise shamed of the United States for attempting to export its version of democracy to Iraq in 2003 and Libya in 2011. The United States' interference in the country resulted in a brazen destruction of national institutions and the lifestyle itself. Putin said, per an interpreter, "Instead of the triumph of democracy and progress, we got violence, poverty and social disaster." The deposing of those countries' leaders likewise created power vacuums, Putin said, that were filled by extremists and terrorists like ISIS, which has since expanded its reaches to countries other than Iraq in the Middle East such as Syria. It cannot help but ask those who have caused this situation, do you realize now what you've done? Putin boldly stated. But I'm afraid no one is going to answer that. Obama had earlier stated that the US is willing to work with any nation to counter ISIS in Iraq and Syria, including Russia and Iran, but any solution to the current violence there must involve a transition away from Assad's leadership to a new, inclusive government. Alluding to Russia's actions at home and abroad, Obama said some major powers assert themselves in ways that contravene international law and restrict the flow of information in their countries and ability of their people to participate in civil society. We are told that such retrenchment is required to beat back disorder, that it's the only way to stamp out terrorism or prevent foreign meddling, Obama said. In accordance with this logic, we should support tyrants like Bashar al-Assad, who drops barrel bombs to massacre innocent children, because the alternative is surely worse. He further accused them of flagrantly violating the territorial integrity of Ukraine. "We recognize the deep and complex history between Russia and Ukraine," he said. "Imagine if, instead, Russia had engaged in true diplomacy and worked with Ukraine and the international community to ensure its interests were protected. That course of action would have been better for Ukraine, for Russia, and the world," Obama argued, "and wouldn't have resulted in the sanctions that the US and its allies authorized on its economy. The US does not desire a return to the Cold War," Obama said, "nor does it want to isolate Russia. We want a strong Russia that is invested in working with us to strengthen the international system as a whole," he stated. Obama was met with applause after he said, "Catastrophes, like what we are seeing in Syria, do not take place in countries where there is genuine democracy and respect for the universal values this institution is supposed to defend." He recognized that democracy is going to take different forms in different parts of the world. he said. Single quote, the very idea of a people governing themselves depends upon government giving expression to their unique culture, their unique history, their unique experiences. However, he said, some universal truths are self-evident: freedom of religion, the immorality of sexual assault, the right of every woman to receive an education, freedom of expression, and single quote, these are not ideas of one country or one culture. They are fundamental to human progress. They are a cornerstone of this institution, Obama said. Continuing, he said, he realized that in many parts of the world there is a different view, a belief that strong leadership must tolerate no dissent. I disagree. I believe a government that suppresses peaceful dissent is not showing strength, it is showing weakness, and it is showing fear. And history shows that regimes who fear their own people will eventually crumble, but strong institutions built on the consent of the governed endure long after any one individual is gone. Putin presented an alternative recording of history, the United States as a country so high on its power after the Cold War that it continually puts its nose and its military might where it doesn't belong, based on a misplaced belief in the exceptionalism of its political system. Single quote, we all know that after the Cold War, a single center of domination emerged in the world, and then those who found themselves at the top of the pyramid were tempted to think that if they were so strong and exceptional, they knew better and they did not have to reckon with the UN, Putin asserted.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. You can visit us on www.therealthingmeme.webs.com.